Okay, let's get started. Today, we're doing a deep dive into what's been happening with aid getting into southern Gaza. We're pulling from the sources you've shared.
Hmm.
And right at the heart of it, there's this specific incident happened just before dawn, Tuesday, near a new aid site.
Yeah. And what's immediately obvious from the material is, well, just how different the stories are about what actually happened.
Completely different accounts. So our goal here is really to unpack those, divergent narratives and try to understand the context the sources give us, especially around this whole new system for aid distribution.
It is striking, the contrast. I mean, the sources lay it out quite clearly. On one side, you've got witnesses, right? International medical teams who were there.
Okay.
And they describe a pretty horrific scene near this distribution point.
Yeah.
They report Israeli troops opening fire on Palestinians who were waiting.
Opening fire.
Yeah. And one source, a foreign witness quoted in the material, actually calls it total carnage.
Total carnage.
Yeah.
That's a powerful quote from the source material. So that's one perspective laid out, people seeking aid, reportedly fired upon. How does the military's account stack up? The sources cover that too, right?
They do. And it's very different. Pulling from the official statement cited in the sources, the Israeli military talks about several suspects.
Suspects. Okay.
Suspects who apparently moved towards their forces. And they specifically note these people were deviating from the designated access routes. That's key phrasing from the sources.
Deviating from the route. So what did the troops do, according to that account?
According to the military statements in the sources, the troops first carried out warning fire, and then additional shots were directed near a few individual suspects who advanced towards the troops.
Wow. Okay, so witness accounts, troops firing, total carnage, military account, warning shots fired near specific individuals deviating from routes. That's quite a gap in description, just based on the sources we have.
A significant gap,
Yeah.
definitely.
So how does this specific incident, especially as reported by the witnesses, connect to the wider criticism of the aid system itself? The sources seem to draw a line there.
They absolutely do. The sources explicitly state that this reported killing of civilians, particularly based on those witness accounts, is being cited as something that redoubles criticism.
Redoubles criticism.
Yeah, criticism of what the sources call a controversial new aid system operating there.
Okay, so it's not just a tragic event in isolation. The sources frame it as pointing to potential flaws, or at least controversies, within the system itself. And the material goes into detail about this new system, doesn't it? Sounds like a big change.
It really does. The sources explain it was developed by Israel and apparently with support from the United States.
Developed by Israel, U.S. support, okay.
And the crucial part, it's specifically designed to replace the previous way things were done, run by the UN agencies, other experienced international aid groups.
Replacing the UN and established players. So who's actually handling the distribution on the ground now under this new model, according to the sources, I mean?
Well, the sources name a new private organization. It's called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF.
GHF. Okay, a private group.
Yes. And what the material points out is that GHF uses armed security teams at its distribution hubs.
Armed security.
Provided, according to the sources, by an American company. And another key detail from the material, these hubs are located in parts of southern Gaza that are under full Israeli military control.
Right. Okay, let's sort of pull that together then, based on the sources. You have these really conflicting reports about a deadly incident near an aid site, witnesses saying troops fired, calling it carnage, versus the military saying warning shots near people who went off route. And the sources connect this directly to increased criticism of this new controversial aid system. A system that, again, according to the sources, replaces the UN and international groups, uses a private body, GHF, with armed security from a U.S. company, all operating out of hubs in Israeli-controlled territory. That's the picture the sources paint.
Yeah, that covers the key elements presented in the material we looked at.
So considering these really divergent reports, these two starkly different stories about what happened, and then layering on the specific details the sources give about this new aid system, its structure, the private security, the location, what does all that suggest to you, just thinking about the complexities here, of trying to get humanitarian aid safely to people who desperately need it right in the middle of a conflict zone?
It's certainly a lot to think about based on what these sources present.